Welcome. Game of Klong, Arthur Monologues. That's where I talk and you listen. Or not. All right. It's July 17th, 2017. Already. How did that happen? All right. Here's the thing. I read a headline. Maybe do a little odds and ends or potpourri here today. All right. This is a headline from Independent Journal Review, let's just call it a neoconservative internet rag. I get it in the email. They send me emails every day, sometimes 2 of them a day, maybe more. Very conservative and very wrong on just about everything. However, let's go with this one. You know, even if you're like wrong, the odds are you're going to get something right once in a while. Yeah, because all right. Before I tell you that, let me just point this out. I hear people talk. They talk. They put stuff on YouTube and they say their thing and they give their little spiel and they express themselves. They express their thoughts, their ideas, their opinions, and so on. And by the way, there's just too many fucking opinions in the world. Since the internet, everybody gets the chance to express their opinion. And that's like potential for 7 billion people to be expressing their opinion at any given time. Even all at the same time. For example, right now, I'm talking, I'm recording this, and as I'm recording this, there are lots and lots of people recording their thing and perhaps live streaming on YouTube or their website or what have you. I keep getting this. They get Alex Jones. Why did he come up? Because I see he's posting something else or live streaming something else. I get it. The guy gives me heartburn just watching him. I mean, he's calm down, Alex. You're gonna give yourself a heart attack or stroke or something. It's just, how does he do that? How does he just keep doing that every day, all the time, just constantly screaming? Like a lunatic. Anyhow, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong here. I think sometimes he's right. I think sometimes he's wrong. Anyway, let's take, for example, somebody. Okay, let's take Ron Paul. Ron Paul. He gets it right sometimes. He gets it right most of the time. And he's a conservative or a libertarian, kind of. I kind of think of libertarians as people that are a little bit more determined to live free without government tyranny and government terrorism. But, let's call him a libertarian. So Ron Paul says something, and I've read his books, most of them, I think, maybe all of them, and I agree with him. I understand what he's saying. It makes sense. It's logical. It's true. I agree with it. I accept it. But even Ron Paul, as brilliant as he is, as correct as he is, he'll say something. He's right, and he's right, and he's right, and he's right, and he's right. And then, oops, wrong. And I would think that he would recognize the inconsistency of that wrong thing with all of the right things. Let's jump over to his son, Rand Paul. Rand Paul sometimes says something right. He says, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. Bingo, that's wrong. Now, I guess the old adage, is correct that no one's perfect. However, when somebody is in a position of power, like a senator, or a governor, or a president, or even a police officer, I kind of think they should be consistent. I think they should not be contradictory in any of their thoughts or their behaviors. Especially if you're in politics. If you're in politics and you're like the president, or you're a senator, or congressman, or how could you be right, wrong? How could you even not notice that seventh thing you said was wrong and a total contradiction to the other 6 things you said? I'll give you an example. Rand Paul. Now, Rand Paul is a contradiction to his father. And yet his father seems to think Rand Paul is like, a little angel. And I would think that Rand Paul would, here's the thing. I think Rand Paul must have been adopted, or he wasn't paying attention to his father all the years, or he's just an idiot. Which is really a shame. Rand Paul, being the son of Ron Paul, should not say things that contradict his father. Because they're both politicians, and therefore they both should follow the rules and be consistent with, say, the Constitution. Like, for example, Ron Paul says, the government shouldn't be involved in the private lives of individuals, and it shouldn't be telling people what they can do and not do, and it shouldn't be, for example, shouldn't be saying abortion should be illegal, because the government has no authority to say that. The government has no authority to tell people that abortion is illegal, or even make a law that makes abortion illegal. I'm pretty sure that Ron Paul, the father, believes that the government should just mind its own damn business when it comes to abortion and things of that nature. Nature, by the way. But Rand Paul, the fucking bloomin' idiot, said, oh yeah, small government shouldn't be in our business, and we have the right to do this, and the right to do that, and the Constitution protects our rights. Supposedly it does. It doesn't, actually, because the government does whatever it wants anyway. Which means the government is out of control. And when you have a government out of control, you don't have freedom. You have tyranny. You have a police state, which is what we have in America. A Nazi fucking fascist police state. That's not even debatable. That's what we have. That's what is. That's what exists. When a police officer can, make you stop your car, drag you out of your car, taser you, beat you, shoot you, kill you, lock you up, tie you up in chains, and beat you some more, shoot you in the back. That's not freedom. And your Constitution there, that law that tells the government what it can and cannot do, it is more than a law. It's not just here's the law, you break it, and I'll put you in jail or something. It's more like a directive. It's like, this is what you will do, this is what you will not do, period. End of story. It's, as Newt Gingrich likes to say, a social contract. It's a political contract, not a social contract. And by the way, I didn't sign that contract. And since the government is required, cannot govern without the consent of the governed, then as far as I'm concerned, the federal government, for example, can't govern because I didn't give my consent. In fact, I kind of did, and then I withdrew it because I realized that the government is evil, criminal, disgusting, and pathetic. And a bunch of crooks, lunatics, Nazis, and fascists, and bullies, tyrants, etc. And did I say psychopaths? I'm not going to give my consent to a psychopath to run my life or to have anything to do with my life. Certainly not, just fuck off, asshole, you're crazy. I'm in a freaking loony bin. So, Rand Paul, and I get these emails from Rand Paul, and I don't know why he would think that I want to get emails from them, because, I certainly don't remember ever signing up to get emails from this guy. But I get them, and it's like, sign my petition to overturn Roe versus Wade because 60 million babies are being murdered by abortion. What kind of moron thinks like that? Anyway, I was pointing out that he's right about certain things, and then bimbo, he comes up with this anti-abortion insanity. And it's what it is, because you've got to be insane to want the government to make abortion illegal. Seriously, you've got to be absolutely raving mad to want the government to make abortion illegal again. Like it has been up until the time when people actually got some brains and figured out, no, that shouldn't be illegal. I mean, if Rand Paul is successful and these other lunatics that agree with him, who are a bunch of hypocrites and bullies and ignorant, because obviously they have no understanding of nature, or the laws of nature, or science, or truth, or freedom. However, Rand Paul says, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, and then bingo, wrong. And that's just weird to me. I think, how could you be wrong about anything? How can you be so wrong about something that is obvious? But he wants to overturn Roe versus Wade type of thing. And it's like, oh, excuse me, that was something that the court actually got right for a change. The Supreme Court, which gets things wrong, sometimes right. Which is the opposite of people like Rand Paul. Because he is actually right a few times, and then wrong, and I don't get it. I mean, how can you be right about one thing and then totally the opposite wrong about something else? How can you say, I believe in freedom, and then turn around and say, I want the government to be a tyranny? You have the right to this and the right to that, and they're inalienable, and God, and in Rand Paul's case, God-given rights, and which is stupid, because I'm not going to get into that, but duh, atheists. Oh, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're not an atheist, keep listening, because you need to learn something. I won't get into that here now. So Rand Paul is like right, wrong. And I don't understand how anybody could be right about like 12 things and then wrong in the complete opposite way on the 13th thing. Now, I guess I could say something. I could just, I don't know, just kind of overlook the wrong thing for the moment, because I kind of like agree with the right things, which are right, by the way. And that's not my opinion. That's just true. It's just true because it's the right thing. Right thing meaning true, fact, true, real, true. Like the government shouldn't be telling me what to do. And if Ron Paul says we shouldn't, the government has no right to tell me what to do, except when it comes to what I do with my own body. Now, I'm a man, I'm not going to have an abortion. But... Oh, by the way, here's the policy. This is the way it is. This is the way it should be. This is the right way to think about abortion. You don't have to like it. You might even think it's wrong. You might even think it's a sin or whatever. If you're a Christian lunatic or moron, which you'd have to be because Christianity is so obviously stupid, ridiculous, absurd. You can't be smart and be a Christian, is what I'm saying. Now, I just offended you. I'm sorry if you're a Christian, but truth is truth. It is what it is, because all the evidence says smart people don't believe in mythological nonsense. It's just ridiculous. It's absurd. So, here's Rand Paul, R-A-N-D-Y, Randy Paul. Randard? Is his full name Randard? Alright, Randard. I'm sure that word means something bad. Alright, so he's like, he believes, audit the Fed, get the Fed out of the government business, limit the budget, possibly even, deal with things that the government's doing wrong, like invading foreign countries and committing crimes against humanity. And, except maybe Ron Paul. Ron Paul says, we shouldn't be invading foreign countries. That's a crime. And it's against the rules, and we shouldn't do it. It's just disgusting and stupid. And then his son, I would think Rand Paul would say pretty much the same thing, seeing as how they're like father and son, they're related. They should agree on that, because that's a very basic point in American jurisprudence. I mean, it's against the law. You just can't do it. The government has no right to do that. Oh, by the way, the government has no rights. It's a corporation. It's a privilege. It exercises a privilege. It does a privilege thing. So, government has no rights. Legally speaking, the government has no right to tell people what to do. Seriously. So anyway, Rand Paul sends me these emails, sign my petition, they're murdering babies, and we gotta stop them. Those socialists or libtards or whatever. Oh, by the way, how did Rand Paul get to be a senator from, Kentucky? Since when is Rand Paul a resident of Kentucky. When I say citizen of Kentucky, how do you get from Texas to Kentucky? See, I don't understand that carpetbag shit. I don't understand. How, you're born, you're raised, you're educated, and so you live in Texas. How can you just get up and I'm just going to go to Kentucky and run for senator? Because, why would you even do that? Why would you even want to do that? Unless you're like a sneaky, conniving piece of shit. And I'm from West Virginia. I live in West Virginia. I'll probably die in West Virginia. I could give you some examples of just that kind of carpetbag bullshit. Like West Virginia. Now we have a senator. I think he's a senator. Like the man's name is Manchin. Okay, Manchin. I know Mr. Manchin. I've met Mr. Manchin. I've met several of his family. I worked for his family. Worked for his father. His father, I believe it's his father, A. James Manchin. Kind of a wacky little dude, but I liked him. And I think he was sincere in his service to West Virginia. However, Mr. Manchin, Senator Manchin of West Virginia, is a resident of West Virginia, as far as I know, since I know exactly where he lives. I know where his home is in West Virginia. I don't think he lives there anymore. Maybe some other member of his family lives there. I doubt if he rented it out to any strangers. And you pretty much have to maintain a residence in West Virginia in order to be a senator of West Virginia. I think that's the rule. So I'm thinking he probably considers that his home. And it's just over the hill from me, about, I don't know, half a dozen miles. I've been to his house. Not in it. Been there, past it. I've been in the yard. And I've been I've been at his relative's house, like his brother and so on. I worked on their property. I was a worker. I did general contracting kind of thing. And so I worked for the family. And Mr. Manchin is a true, as far as I can tell, until he became a senator and moved off to Washington or wherever he lives now, in Virginia or someplace. I'm guessing he's a West Virginian, and it's okay to be a senator because born and raised in West Virginia. As far as I know. Rand Paul was not born and raised in Kentucky. He's a carpetbagger. So let's talk about West Virginia for a second. Okay, let's think. Who do we have as governor of West Virginia and senator of West Virginia? I think he's retired from Senate now. Maybe. Haven't heard from him lately. Thank God. The guy's name is J. Rockefeller, who was governor of West Virginia, then became a senator of West Virginia. Let me think. J. Rockefeller, where did he come from? Where was he born and raised? It wasn't West Virginia. I think, and this is my opinion, okay? One of the few times you're going to hear me express an opinion. My opinion is that if you're not a native-born West Virginian, you should not be governor of West Virginia or a senator from West Virginia. Because that's just not right. I don't believe that you should come from a foreign country like, Austria or Germany or Russia or China or someone like that. And just, I'm born and raised in China, I'm just going to move over there to the United States of America and run for president. Well, you know how that's going to happen, huh? Not going to happen. Born and raised in China by Chinese people. I'm a Chinese guy. I'm going to go move to America, immigrate to America, and buy a house in California, let's say, and then I'm going to run for president as a Californian. And you know who I'm talking about. He wasn't Chinese, he was German or Austrian. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he runs for governor of California and wins. What? Now I could almost make an exception in that case because he was moved there, he's lived there a long time, and he's a resident, he's got the residential requirements of having lived there for so long. He's the right age, etc. And he can sort of speak English. California. California. It's cute. Anyway, marries an American. And he's governor. Not now, thank God. I'm thank goodness, let's say. I don't get it. I mean, what? Now, since he is a resident of California now, and therefore a citizen of California, then I guess he can, since he lives there, he has a say in the country, and he should have a say in the government of his state, his locale where he lives, and so on. But maybe not. Because if that holds true, then you're also a resident of America. Therefore, you should have a say in how America is run, politically speaking. And no, don't think so. Anyway, don't want to get into that too heavy, because we're talking about Rand Paul and other hypocrites and bullies. I'll just finish up with Jay Rockefeller. Jay Rockefeller, carpetbagger from New York, excuse me, obviously a part of the Rockefeller Mafia. Yep. And moves to West Virginia just long enough to get residency, and then I'm going to run for governor. And he wins. Unfucking believable. I think West Virginians are just not that bright. Not all of them. Some of them are really smart. Unless they voted for Jay Rockefeller for governor. Then he runs for senator and he wins, and he was in the Senate for a long time, and he said a lot of stuff. He did a lot of stuff, and a lot of bad stuff, a lot of criminal, treasonous stuff. Yeah, Jay Rockefeller, traitor and a criminal. For example, Jay Rockefeller says to me, now I communicated with Jay Rockefeller, and Jay Rockefeller communicated back to me. Seriously. And he said to me in a letter, which I have in my possession, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have the letter in front of me to read it exactly what he said. I'm going to paraphrase, and I'm going to paraphrase it fairly accurately, I believe. He said to me, and like I said, a paraphrase, that he, Jay Rockefeller, has the right or the power. I don't remember the exact word, whether he has the power or he has the right or he has the capacity to tell people how they can exercise their right of freedom of speech. And of course he goes on to say stuff like, there are limits to freedom of speech, that the First Amendment has limitations, that he has the power to decide what is allowed and what isn't allowed as free speech. Okay? In other words, free speech is a natural, inalienable human right granted to us by the virtue of being born. And Jay Rockefeller thinks that he can just say, well, you know what? I'm going to take away your free speech because I'm an asshole and a carpetbagger and a bully, and I'm just going to take away your free speech because I'm like a god here in Washington. I kid you not. He said to me, I have a right to tell people what they can say and what the limits are of what they can say, and there's free speech is not free speech because I'm like a tyrant and a bully. Yeah, Jay Rockefeller, a senator in the United States of America, said to me, I have the right to tell you you can't say that because I'm like a god. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't use the word God, but I read the letter. I got it in the mail, and I read it, and it was addressed to me. And I read the letter, and I said, what the fuck? Seriously? You're a senator in West Virginia, from West Virginia to Washington, and you're a senator, and you have a constitution that says to you, you can't do that, Jay. You just can't. It's against the law. You do that, you're a criminal. And he said, yeah, I can violate your freedom of speech because I'm like a god. And I didn't say God. I'm not saying that he said that. I'm saying, well, it doesn't matter what he said because he's a scumbag. I mean, do I respect that? Absolutely not. Do I have to respect that? No. Do I have to tell the truth about him? Yeah, kind of. Do I have to tell a lie? Can I tell a lie? People that know me know better that I just don't lie. If I say something that's not true, I certainly hope that I have enough brains and enough conscientious dedication to truth to prove myself wrong, or at least acknowledge the evidence that proved me wrong, and then say, I was wrong, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I will not be wrong in that area of things again, ever. I will not say a wrong thing like that again, because I'm like no better now. However, when a senator tells me that he can violate the Constitution, that he took an oath to defend and protect, to the death, and then turns around and says something like that to me, that is just absolutely ludicrous. Contemptible, disgusting, despicable, pathetic. So Jay Rockefeller, if you're out there and you happen to hear these words, fuck you, you bully. Tyrant, you piece of shit, traitor, motherfucker. Oh, shit. I just got an X rating on this episode, didn't I? Alright, fuck it. Anyway, moving on. So Rand Paul, right. Agree, I agree. Not because I am like-minded, it's because what he said was true, or right, or correct, or logical, or factual. And then he says, abortion should be illegal and the government should force everybody in America to live the way he wants them to, which is not have an abortion. That's called being a bully and a tyrant and a hypocrite. So Rand Paul, as right as he may be on all of that, wrong on one thing, boom, sorry, credibility goes to zero, and the respect for him goes to zero because of that one stupid mistake. And by the way, I've explained it to him several times because he sends me emails, I send him back emails. And he chooses to ignore my emails because he's an asshole. And why his father hasn't reined him in yet, I don't understand. Why would Rand Paul be allowed to say something so contradictory to what his father has been saying for, 50 years? Now, Rand Paul I don't know what kind of doctor he is, but he's a lousy human being, that's for sure. He's certainly a criminal as far as politics is concerned. Man should be in prison. Or at least fired. Bullies should not be allowed to be senators. But his father, congressman for 40 years or so, by the way, what did Ron Paul ever do? He said, I never voted for anything that was unconstitutional. Well, maybe. But I'm sorry, Ron Paul, buddy, friend, as right as you are about everything, mostly, nothing changed. The criminal government still exists, and they're still doing crimes against humanity, etc. So, you kind of wasted your life there, pal. I understand it's hard for one person in the Senate to, totally control the Senate. Oh, no, unless you're like a Nazi bastard. Like George Bush. I'm not even going to talk about Trump. All right, I'm not even going to go there. I don't even want to think about that guy right now. He's a freaking lunatic. But I'm just not going to go there. So Rand Paul, right, wrong. His father, support my son. If I was Rand Paul's father, and I actually believe in freedom like I do, and like his father claims to, I would think he would be telling his son, stop saying that. Stop saying that, stop doing that, it's wrong, don't do it. Seriously. I mean, if I had a son that was like being an asshole and a bully and a prick, I would tell him so. I don't care how old he was. He could be like 50 years old. Sorry, son, you're being a butthead, and stop it. Because I'm your father, and I'm telling you, I'll kick your ass, you little prick. Sure wouldn't promote him to be president. So this is the point. And Americans are I've run across regular citizens, regular people, like myself. I'm not actually regular, but you know what I mean. I'm not a government, I'm not a politician. But I run across people on, like, say, Facebook and other social media sites. And they say, yes, this is true, this is true, this is true. Yep, right. And then, boop, right on the whole thing by saying something really stupid that's not true. It's sad. It's really sad to look at someone and say, that man's a good guy. He wants the right thing. He's obeying the law of the Constitution, for example, and he's a decent human being. I wouldn't imagine him doing anything really bad, like personally, like, shoot someone or rob someone or, whatever. But you give the guy a Senate seat, and then all of a sudden he's like God, and I'm going to, pretend to be Adolf Hitler for a while. Or any other bully, tyrant, dictator, piece of shit. So anyway, Rand Paul, right, wrong. And that means, sorry, I don't want you speaking for me anymore. I don't want you being a senator. I don't want you being a congressman. I don't want you to be a president because you're, wrong about something. Now, yeah, nobody's perfect, but how can you be even considered for such a position of power as the presidency of the United States and then be totally wrong and evil and criminal and a bully and a tyrant about anything? The Constitution's pretty clear, and I'm sure he took an oath. And at the end of that oath, I think he said, "So help me God," which means if he violates his oath of office, if he violates the Constitution, which he's sworn to protect, defend, and obey, he committed treason. And I think the logical conclusion from that would be is that you committed a crime and you violated your oath of office, which at the end you said, here's what it is. The phrase at the end of the oath is, "So help me God," which means, and has always meant, because if there's no consequences for saying an oath, then there's no point in saying the oath. It's meaningless. If there's no consequences for breaking the law, then it's kind of pointless to swear on your life that you will not break the law. So Rand Paul took an oath. And he's violated an oath. Which means we can send him up to God. Now this is a metaphor since there is no God. But metaphorically speaking, he can be going up, we'll help him get to heaven to, face God and say, "Please help me." Meaning, don't send me to hell. That's what the oath means. It means if you break the law, if you violate the Constitution, if you disobey the law of the Constitution as a president or a senator or any other government official, if you break your oath, if you violate your oath, and you do something wrong, illegal, criminal, insane, then the people have the right to execute you. Because that's what that means. If it doesn't mean that, then it's irrelevant. It doesn't have any relevancy at all. It's just something cute to say at the end of an oath. If you're going to court and you're going to be sworn in as a witness on going to take the stand and give testimony, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. That means if you lie on the stand, you can be impeached for perjury. There's a punishment for that. So as far as Rand Paul is concerned, he said it right, wrong. And he violated his oath of office, meaning he can be removed from office and held criminally accountable for breaking the Constitution and his oath. Because that's what "so help me God" means. It always has meant that. And I'm not making this up. That's historical truth. Sorry, you don't get it? Look it up. Figure it out for yourself. All right. So the whole point of this was, you got these people running for, senators and presidents and governors and so forth, and then right, wrong. All right, I'll finish up with this. If your father was a nice guy, and he says, I believe this is true, this is true, this is true. As far as being a parent and raising his children is concerned, you're my son, and this is true, and this is true, and this is true, and you believe him, and then all of a sudden your father says, at some point when you're like 20 years old and he's like 50, says to you something that is not true, and you know it's not true, you're going to have to scratch your head and say, "Why did you say something wrong, Dad? After 50 years, and I'm 30 years old, and I've never heard you," or 20 years old. I'm 20 years old, and I've never heard you say a wrong thing in your life, and then all of a sudden you just came up with this thing that's like totally not true, wrong. Like, Dad, I'm shattered that you should do that. I'm going to have to question your character now, Dad, because you just said it's okay to lie or murder people or whatever. You've been telling me all my life, don't kill people, son, don't kill people, son, don't kill people, son. And, when you're 50, the father's 50, he tells the son, okay, yeah, let's go kill people. Huh? You see my point. So I got to go. Catch you later. Have a good day. D. McClung, Archer Monologues.